Hello there, this is Matt Martin talking about concussions today. What is a concussion? A concussion is a bruise to the brain caused by a sudden impact to the brain, which makes the brain swell inside of your skull, creating pressure that it can be life-threatening. SIS, Second Impact Syndrome. Second Impact Syndrome is when you sustain another concussion after you've already had a concussion. That's hard to identify because sometimes you don't know if you got the first concussion or not. With second impact syndrome, with any concussion, cerebral edema comes in, which is the bleeding of the brain. And with SIS, that process is worsened. It affects the pressures in your brain, which makes it so your body can't regulate how much blood is being spilled. So with a regular concussion, your body can, on most terms, protect it. It will make it so the brain and the body can stop the bleeding where it's not fatal. But with SIS, that process is hardened for the body, so it can't do its job. That's why SIS is so fatal. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes to get to the hospital so you can treat this so you won't have major extensive brain damage or death. Testing. There's a couple ways they test concussions. What they do is they do the CT scans, which are better for once you actually sustained or you think you sustained a concussion, because the magnetic pressures in your brain and stuff, it picks it up better than any other kind of testing. So that's what you would probably get if you really think you sustained a concussion. And impact testing, if you're an athlete, you know that at the beginning of every season, if it's a contact sport, you have to take the impact test. The impact test tests you on basic memory skills, reaction stuff, and stuff like that. So once you do sustain a concussion in a contact sport, you have to go back and take this test again. If your scores are lower than they were before, that's a pretty good indication that there's something wrong and that you should go see a doctor. That's when this comes in, and they might try to give you a CT scan to see if you got one. A breakdown of individual sports. We got football, soccer, and basketball. Right here. Okay. What I found is that surprisingly enough, soccer has the higher percentage of concussions than football. That's kind of weird, thinking that though football, hit each other, lots of head-to-head contact and stuff. But it's actually not that weird to think about. When you think about it, soccer players don't have headgear. They don't have anything to protect their head, and when they're going up for headers or going in for slide tackles and stuff like that, they can risk their body to impact the head. About 20% of concussions in boys soccer are from concussions of heading the ball. The lacking of headgear is definitely a concern of why that percentage is so high. Also, 23% are from being a defensive player, like a goalie, like a defensive person. These people try to get the ball out of their end so they can give it to their offense so they can score the ball. Um, they tend to be more aggressive because they don't want the other team to score, so they really put their body at risk for a concussion. Basketball. Basketball is interesting, where um, and where you get a lot of elbows while under the court, and that is a big concern for concussions because you don't know when you're going to get hit. You can get hit in the temple, and that's a sensitive area, as everybody knows, and that's a concussion. There's also just basic tripping, going up and down the court, and falling on your head and getting a concussion. And then there's football. Football is kind of obvious why there are so much concussions. As a lineman, you head-to-head contact a lot. I mean, coaches try to prevent that stuff by proper tackling and stuff, but it happens. Just basic hit to the head can give you a concussion. It's the slightest. And just hitting your head off the ground. If you're like a running back, you get tackled by the legs, your head just slams against the ground, or you're a cornerback, you get a pick, and you just fall funny on your head. That's a concussion situation right there. Parenting. As a parent, what do you look for? You look for odd signs of people not acting right. Like if your child starts being depressed, not wanting to go to school, is starting to like not eat, is complaining of the light bothering them and stuff, and TV, you should probably bring your kid in for a concussion. The basic signs of that are like glossy eyes, headaches, irritated by light, and stuff like that. For that, yeah. Real life examples. We got right here, Junior Seau. He was a football player who played for the Patriots and the Chargers. He retired in 2009, and he retired because he was done football, obviously, but also because of how much head injuries he got in the NFL. Unfortunately, due to the amount of concussions he got, he sustained multiple concussions, and it gave him depression, and he killed himself. It's the same story with this guy right here. This is Owen Thomas from Penn State, or not Penn State, the University of Penn, Pennsylvania. It's an Ivy League school. He played football. He committed suicide as well. He hung himself. And that was linked to him having so much concussions while playing football. Diagnosing and treating. To diagnose a concussion as a coach, as a athletic trainer, as a parent, you look for the basic symptoms: glossy eyes. You look for headaches, irritation to light, loss of consciousness, and forgetting like basic memory stuff, not knowing like what happened, where you are, who you are, maybe, and things like that. That's a big concern if they start showing signs of that. Treating, what you want to do, you have to be careful. As a parent, you want to make sure your child stays awake. You want to make sure your child does not fall asleep, because that increases the risk of them getting into a coma, because of blood building up in your head, and that's not good while you're sleeping, because that causes comas. Also, you can take Tylenol or ibuprofen. Don't take a lot of it because, you could overdose, obviously, but also certain types of painkillers can increase bleeding in the brain. Grade 1, Grade 2, and Grade 3. That's how you diagnose a concussion as well. A Grade 1 concussion is a headache, it's kind of fuzzy feeling in the head. Like you feel a little out of it. Like you don't know like why you're there, and you're just kind of confused. Those are the hardest to diagnose because they are so entwined in other things like being dehydrated, not eating. But then there's grade 2, which is step up from grade 1, and that is being hit in the head. It's more obvious that you have something wrong with you. You might lose some of your balance. You might be a little messed up, and you might even lose consciousness. But that doesn't happen much. If you start to lose consciousness and start not knowing where you are, that's usually a grade 3. Grade 3 is a serious one. Those are the more obvious ones. When you don't know where you are, you're out cold. Those are the ones you need to see a doctor ASAP. And with a grade 1, you have to watch out for. This is why SIS is so common, is because grade 1s are so hard to identify. That's already having a concussion and getting a more serious hit. With all of this, there are ways that you can help prevent concussions. Better helmets, better testing of different types of equipment, maybe even adding helmets in soccer and field hockey and girls lacrosse and stuff like that. Adding headgear. Things like football, lacrosse, and other sports that already have helmets, they can just increase the technology in which the helmets already have, make them better. Concussions will never go away. They'll always be there. But there are ways to help prevent concussions so they don't happen as frequently. And that's it. That's all I got. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.